everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, released in 1991. Ghoulies 3 was directed by John Carl Buechler, who I forgot to mention in the Ghoulies 2 kill count actually made the Ghoulie puppets, and not only Ghoulies 2 but also the original film. Not only did he make the puppets here, but like I just said, he directed it. John was known not only for doing the special effects for the Ghoulies franchise, he also did it for the toys and demonic toys. Alongside with that, he also directed a few times, including Friday the 13th Part 7. Alongside that film, he also directed this one, and I gotta tell you right now, I love this movie. I don't care how goofy and overall stupid this movie is all around.
Prank week. Prank week. Pancake?
So many dumb things happen that make you question, what the hell am I watching? But I just love it so much because of how hilarious it is. The Ghoulies randomly talk in this movie, and even though that's a little weird, it doesn't bother me because they are hilarious. The movie revolves around our main character, Skip. It's prank week at his college, and he's trying to beat this other kid named Jeremy at pranking each other. And the Ghoulies get resummoned out of a toilet, where they start causing massacre all around, drinking lots of beer, and killing some people. How many kills will the Ghoulies rank up during their major? Let's find out. Get to the kills. The movie opens outside of a house that comes free with a title card. Inside, we see a student frantically locking himself into a bathroom. In his hand is a comic book that has ancient text inside. As he begins to read through it, the toilet next to him begins to bubble. However, before he can finish, the Ghoulies suddenly come flying in through the window and attack him, pinning him to the toilet. And not even a minute into the movie, we're already starting with the stupid shit. After the fish Ghoulie hits the other two's heads together, the student begins to flail around and scream, which causes the comic to fall back into his lap. He begins reading through the words again, and it starts a magic spell that suddenly traps all four of them back in the toilet. And I'm actually going to count the student as a kill, as later when the Ghoulies are resummoned out of the toilet, he doesn't appear, so it's possible they killed him off screen. We jump to 21 years later at a college, where we see some wacky stuff going on. Back at that house from the beginning of the movie, we see a student in the bathroom, and in the wall he finds the same comic book from the beginning, but it doesn't really make sense to me. How the hell did the comic get there? What, did it fall out of the kid's hands? Weird. Anyway, he starts to read through it, and it starts to summon the Ghoulies out of the toilet, but he stops reading it and prevents them from coming out. Back at the college, we see Skip and his goofy-ass friend group. He's walking around when he notices that they're potentially about to get pranked, but since he's a pranking expert, he expects it and manages to avoid them getting pranked. However, his professor, Mr. Ragnar, ends up getting the prank instead, where he's splashed in the back of the head with a water bottle. Ragnar despises Prank Week and doesn't want anything to do with it and doesn't want to get pranked anymore. Then that kid Jeremy walks up to Skip and starts talking mad shit to him because of the crown he's wearing. Whenever you wear that crown, it means you're the king of pranking, and currently, he's the king. Great. In the hallway, Skip stops his ex-girlfriend Erin from eating a candy bar from the vending machine because he rigged it for prank week. Jeremy walks in and takes Erin because he's her new boyfriend, and they just walk off. In Skip's class, everyone's just acting like lunatics and pranking each other over and over again and just doing literally anything imaginable. Ragnar walks in and shuts that shit up, but when he flips a chalkboard, he finds a drawing of him as a horse on the back. Ragnar walks up and stops Wes and his girlfriend Veronica from making out. Wes then pulls out the comic book from earlier, but Ragnar snatches it from him and starts reading it in front of the class. This causes the Ghoulies to start summoning, however, Ragnar stops reading before the Ghoulies can fully be summoned. However, as Ragnar walks over to his desk, suddenly a giant inflatable starts puffing out of the desk from Skip. Later that day, Skip hosts a party at his house where they're axing pizza? Why? Back at the school, Ragnar is grading some assignments when he picks up the comic and thinks of an idea. Once again back at Skip's house, Veronica pulls Wes upstairs for, I'm sure you can guess. They get a knock at the door, and it's some state trooper guy named Barkus. Skip distracts Barkus while his friend goes up and puts a sex doll on his little car thing and turns it on, making him think that the sex doll is driving his car away, so Barkus doesn't interrupt their party anymore. Back at the school, again, Ragnar is looking through a book and he finds a similar-looking creature to what's on the comic book. I'm gonna skip past this, and this. Back at the school again, Ragnar is starting to read through the comic, but he doesn't stop this time, which allows the Ghoulies to finally get summoned.
Honey, I'm home.
However, as soon as they get out of the toilet, the cat and rat Ghoulie immediately start arguing with each other, but thankfully we have the fish Ghoulie to solve that problem.
Knock it off!
Back downstairs, everyone decides to leave to go celebrate Prank Week in better places. However, both Wes and Veronica end up staying upstairs. This gives the Ghoulies a chance to finally get back to killing. Or do this. Can we just get to killing? Meanwhile, Ragnar is conducting some experiments with the comic book and accidentally ends up summoning the Ghoulies right to his location. He summons the Ghoulies back to the house, and, seriously, what was the point of that scene? I guess so Ragnar knew of their existence? Sure. Wes takes a break from having sex and heads to the bathroom. However, he peeks into the toilet and he's attacked by the fish ghoulie who pins him up against the wall. And we then get this pretty funny line.
Wesley! Are you in the toilet?
The ghoulies then literally flush him down the toilet, and when I said I wanted to get back to killing, this is not what I meant. The ghoulies head downstairs and start throwing literally everything. The ghoulies then open up this wardrobe, and a bunch of clothes comes tumbling down all over them, which somehow gets them perfectly dressed in clothes.
So, what's your major? Smut slapping! Ow!
The ghoulies then go nuts and start destroying literally everything, with the rag ghoulie taking an axe to a sound system. The fish ghoulie then takes a crockett hammer and begins breaking the case holding some trophies inside, with the cat ghoulie just munching on a bunch of snacks. When the rat ghoulie tries to take some of the cat ghoulie's food, it causes them to have another argument, but once again the fish ghoulie shuts that shit up. The ghoulies then go on a
Beer run!
They head into the kitchen and open up a large freezer to see a whole bunch of beer. However, when the cat ghoulie grabs one of them, it causes the beer to come crumbling down all over them. Meanwhile, Skip and his friend Stork are trying to sneak up to Jeremy's house so they can prank him. And while two of the guards are taking a piss, Skip decides to prank them when he uses a slingshot to throw a rock at one of them, which causes him to pee on the other guy. Back at the house, the ghoulies are just having a field day as they're drinking as much beer as they can and just being as goofy as they can. And they begin piling up their beer cans to where there's a giant pile. Eventually, the rat ghoulie decides to take a sip of some Drain-X, and it causes steam to shoot out of his ears. The fish ghoulie takes the Drain-X and tries to give it to the cat ghoulie as a joke. However, the cat ghoulie just drinks it like any normal drink. Back with Skip, they find Jeremy's little scooter thing and decide that that'd be perfect to prank him with. Once again, back at the house, the cat ghoulie is disappointed to find that they're out of beer, and he throws it at the pile, which causes it to crumble all over him. Once again, back with Skip, they take out a wrench and start messing with the mechanics of the scooter, probably to make it crash when he's trying to drive it or something. But then the ghoulies randomly appear, how the hell did they get there so fast? After the rat ghoulie clonks the cat ghoulie in the head with a hammer, the fish ghoulie sends the rat ghoulie down to mess with the bike, as in, destroy it. The next morning, everyone makes it back to the house to find that it's destroyed thanks to the ghoulies. However, they think it was Jeremy's side who pranked them by destroying the house. They also discover that all the beer has been drinking,
2001!
Skipping past this, Jeremy has some mad beef with Skip because he thinks he was the one that completely destroyed his scooter. However, Skip tries to tell him that he only messed with it a little bit, but of course, enemies never believe each other. However, Skip ends up discovering the scooter himself and knows something's up. Barkus returns to the movie and isn't too happy with Skip and Stork because he thinks they did it. However, he ends up just leaving. Not before the ghoulies sneak in the back of his little car thing and mess with the electronics. So when he sits back in his car, he gets electrocuted, but he somehow survives it. But trust me, we're just getting started with Barkus's invincibility. Meanwhile, Ragnar is still conducting experiments with the book and realizes that he can get the ghoulies to do his bidding. So he once again summons them back to his location to find them, messing with the statue of a goat? What the hell? However, before the ghoulies can attack him, Ragnar threatens the ghoulies with burning the comic. He then orders the ghoulies to go steal the pranking crown, which they do in literally 5 seconds. The ghoulies then take Barkus's car and start heading back to Ragnar. The fish ghoulie then starts messing around with the rat ghoulie thanks to the fact that he's about to get sick from the chili fries he ate earlier, and the fish ghoulie makes him think that they're about to crash, but he jukes him. Jeremy and this other character named Blaine eventually find that the pranking crown has been stolen and think Skip stole it. So Jeremy begins devising a plan to get Skip back. The ghoulies get back to Ragnar, and Ragnar takes the pranking crown and locks the comic in a file cabinet. A lady named Miss Boggs then appears. She was seen at the beginning of the movie talking to Ragnar, and she starts to sneeze because of the cat ghoulie. And the rat ghoulie kindly hands her a tissue. After realizing what she just saw, she falls back against the wall and sees the cat ghoulie sitting on a shelf. The cat ghoulie then grabs her tongue and starts stretching it out to impossible lengths and starts pulling on it. Eventually, the cat ghoulie lets go of her tongue, and it sends her spinning around over and over again until the tongue wraps around her neck, strangling her to death for the third kill of the movie. Finally, Ragnar gets so pissed off with the ghoulies that he sends them away. They wind up at this house where a bunch of nasty stuff's going on, so I'm not going to show any of it. Eventually, the ghoulies climb into the window to sniff and chew on a bunch of panties. Eventually, the ghoulies head into the bathroom where they find Veronica in the shower. They hop on top of each other like kids do in cartoons to act like adults, and they attack her in the shower where the fish ghoulie sticks a plunger to her face and stretches her face out for the 4th kill of the movie. The next day, Skip tries to talk to Erin, however, she's upset at him for the panty raid that happened last night. Later, back in Ragnar's class, Jeremy sets up this crazy prank, which causes Ragnar's whole desk to explode. Ragnar thinks it's Skip because Jeremy connected a wire to Skip's desk, and Ragnar then kicks Skip out of his class. That night, Ragnar tells the ghoulies about Skip and tell them to kill him. But then the ghoulies just start mocking him.
He is a changer. He is a danger.
Are you mimicking me?
Are you mimicking me?
The ghoulies have no dicks.
Ragnar has no dick.
And then Aaron hooks back up with Skip. And while the ghoulies are looking for Skip, Blaine walks in with a bomb? Is he really going to leave that in the house? I think Jeremy might be taking this a little too far. The ghoulies mistake Blaine for Skip, and the fish ghoulie kills him by hitting him in the face with a frying pan. The bomb he was holding then starts bouncing around, and my favorite scene in the whole movie happens.
Nice bomb. Oh, nice bomb!
The bomb ends up bouncing all the way to Barkus's car, and it explodes. And he still somehow survives. Skip and Aaron then head to Ragnar's office, I guess for Skip to try and prove that it wasn't him, but they can't find Ragnar in there. As they're looking around, they find Mrs. Boggs' dead body, and they run off to go get help. As they're running, however, they're stopped by Jeremy, who's still pissed off at Skip. Jeremy gets his crew, and they start to beat up Skip. Aaron manages to run off where she heads to the library to get a phone to call for help. However, as she's calling for help, Ragnar stops her. Back with Skip, he tries to explain to Jeremy that they found a dead body, however, he still doesn't let him go. Meanwhile, Aaron tries to run away from Ragnar, however, the ghoulies stop her. While they take Skip away, they hear Aaron screams, and Skip manages to fight them all off and heads to go save Aaron. Ragnar and the ghoulies tie up Aaron, prepare to start torturing her, however, Skip manages to get to the library in time. Ragnar sends the ghoulies after Skip, and when the cat ghoulie jumps off the chandelier, it breaks and nearly falls on Aaron. Skip fights back as he takes a gun that shoots glue and sprays the ghoulies all over to stick them together. Skip then fights with Ragnar and manages to win, and then narrowly saves Aaron from the chandelier falling on her. Skip then grabs a comic book and uses it to command the ghoulies to attack Ragnar. However, during the attack, Ragnar warns them that if they kill him, then he can absorb their powers. Suddenly, Ragnar and the ghoulies then spark up in a bunch of electricity and then melt into a fleshy, goopy pile, and I'm going to count Ragnar and the 3 ghoulies as a kill. However, the goopy flesh pile suddenly begins to bubble. Outside of the library, Skip and Aaron are confronted by Jeremy one last time, and even though Jeremy goes to attack Skip, he's scared off when this monstrosity against humanity comes out of the library. Despite how weird and stupid it looks, it's not completely random, as it was the humanoid creature seen on the comic book cover. Monster Ragnar chases Aaron and Skip upstairs, where they hide in the same bathroom from earlier. As Monster Ragnar breaks the door down, Skip tries to use the comic, but it doesn't have any effect on Monster Ragnar because he is the comic now. However, Skip decides to then flush the comic book down the toilet, which manages to trap Monster Ragnar in the toilet. As Skip and Aaron go to share a kiss, his friends come in, but they stop and let them kiss. And they then decide to go party. And the movie ends with the fish ghoulie reaching his hand out of the toilet and crushing a beer can. How many kills did the ghoulies drink up during their major? Let's find out. Get to the numbers. Oh yeah! Also, I found this comic here. I don't really know what it is. I don't really know what it does. I'm gonna go read this real quick. 10 people / ghoulies died in Ghoulies 3 Ghoulies Go to College, with 5 of them being male, 2 of them being female, and 3 of them being ghoulies. Golden Chainsaw for best kill goes to Blaine. It's just a frying pan to the face, and there's not a single drop of blood, but the rest of the movie doesn't have any blood at all, and the rest of the kills, I just weren't a fan of any of them. And Dome Machete for worst kill goes to Mrs. Boggs. It's just way too stupid. And that's it. Ghoulies 3 Ghoulies Go to College came out in 1991, and it's my second favorite in the franchise. I think it's a pretty fun watch. Next time we'll be finally looking at Pumpkinhead, but until then, I'm Hardcore Fan, and I'll see you next time.